Ladies and gentlemen, good evening to you. And I believe it's the first time in about 20 years. I'm a few minutes late. I apologize sincerely for that. But I am here. This is Mark Brantley. I'm the Premier of Nevis. I'm the leader of the Concerned Citizens Movement. And I'm your humble host of this show, On the Mark. And I'm here this evening with you. I hope to spend 2 hours with you, God willing, from now until 10 o'clock. And of course, the most important part of this show is your voice as we take your calls and ask for your opinions. When the lines open, we encourage you to call in and say what you have to say. We ask you to be as fulsome as you want to be, as forceful as you want to be, but we urge you not to be disrespectful. We have some standards that we maintain here at Von Radio. We're only the best will do, and we always encourage our people to maintain those standards. There are lots of issues in our country, and we invite the debate, meaningful debate that can enrich us, and importantly enrich those that are listening. This show is a big platform. It's widely listened to across the region and across the world. It's widely listened to in the diaspora and here at home. And so we urge you, please, when you call in, have your information together, make the most of the time on this platform, and let us have a sensible and reasonable debate when we exchange our views. And at the end of the day, even if we do not agree, let us not be disagreeable. Good evening to the wonderful people here on the island of Nevis, those on St. Christopher, those who are all around the Caribbean. I can think of Saba, Statia. I can think of those in Curacao and Bonaire and Aruba. I can think of Anguilla. I can think, of course, of St. Martin and, of course, the U.S. Virgin Islands, the British Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, those in Barbados and Jamaica and Trinidad, Guyana. We have so many listeners in Guyana. I say good evening to all of you. Good evening to our friends and family all across the region. And, of course, those who are in the United States and Canada, those in the United Kingdom. Wherever you are this evening, if you're tuned into Von Radio and you're listening to On the Mark, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being part of our audience. And for those who are regulars, thank you for always choosing to spend 2 hours on a Wednesday evening with us. We have become a staple in the talk environment here in St. Kitts and Nevis. We know there are lots of talk shows. New ones are popping up every day. Many come and go. Many are trying to find a way. But we have been here. For 2 decades, we have been here. And we have had a show with a platform that is still unique because it's the only platform without commercial breaks. And so that is possible through the generosity of Daniel Brantley, law firm there in Charlestown. And I keep saying that when our history is written, I'm hopeful that Daniel Brantley warrants a footnote to say that the finance issue for all this time, and that through their financing of this show, we have been able to keep it on air, and of course, we have been able to keep it commercial free. And that has therefore allowed us to entertain views and opinions and to give persons, when they call in, a good run, allow them to say what they have to say. Now, ladies and gentlemen, a lot has been happening. We've had a lot of debate and a lot of discussion. We've had debates about the sustainable zone legislation that was passed. We've had debates about land and land sales and who's selling land and who's not selling land. We've had debates on many things. The thing, however, that we perhaps have not had sufficient debate on is the issue of development for our island. I have said and continue to say that one of the accusations hurled at my government is that we have not brought any large-scale investment to the island. The last major private sector investment brought to the island was 30 plus years ago by Sir Simeon Daniel, then leader of the NRP. And many to this day in the NRP still credit the Four Seasons as the biggest thing that has happened on the island of Nevis. We've had a number of smaller investments, to be sure, but I believe that a single investment that employs sometimes as many as 1,000 people, that has not come our way in the last 3 decades. We are now talking about investments and investors. We're now talking about developments and developers, which are, in a way, Four Seasons-like in the sense that their size and scale and impact that they can potentially have. And interestingly, many of those who have argued quite vehemently that there is no large-scale investment and that Nevis needs something to take us to the next level of development those are the very ones now who are screaming and telling people all manner of things. And I think it's a little unfortunate that what we have in the public domain from some quarters is political propaganda rather than reasoned debate and information, rather than engaging in a way with each other as sensible human beings, as mature divisions, educated, many of us, and the literacy rate that we boast is almost 100%. We should let our discussions reflect the level of maturity and the level of intellect that we collectively possess. And some of the, frankly, nonsense that has been spouted, all in the name of politics, all in the interest to score some point. And as soon as you debunk one lie, another one is said. And that is the way that misleaders operate. And I would just urge our people to ignore the noise. Listen to the hard information and the facts. And once you get an opportunity to engage publicly, whether through these shows, whether in a town hall meeting or otherwise, I beg you to do so. Development is important and it is inevitable. Some will say all manner of things. They will sometimes do one thing privately and then publicly they say something else. But it is ultimately for you, the people, to determine what you want. Do we want a Nevis where we continue where we are, making small incremental developmental steps, registering perhaps 3 and 4% growth each year? That is significant in developed economies. But in an economy our size, 3 or 4% is quite small. And so while we're growing, the question is, are we growing at a pace and at a rate that will allow the island of Nevis to emerge as a leader in the Caribbean? I think we have the potential. I think we have all ingredients. It's just a question of putting those ingredients together and baking the cake. And that is exactly what my government is seeking to do. I got into government as the Premier of Nevis in December of 2017. And I believe that things were looking up. By 2019, and I remember the budget debates of 2018 December going into 2019, my team and I were very, very bullish. We felt that this was our time, this was Nevis's time. However, by early 2020, all of that had been dashed when we had the COVID-19 pandemic. And for the next 2 years, the country was essentially shut down. Our hotels shuttered, tourism shuttered, our ports shuttered, and our people struggling. We then started to come out of COVID in 2022, but we knew that there were lingering effects. People were behind on their mortgages, behind on their payments. People are having real difficulties on this island. And so it has taken us a while to claw our way out. And that was where we were when we went to the polls in 2022, December, and asked our people to renew our mandate. And at the time, we said that we had managed the COVID pandemic extremely well. And we wanted our people to reward sober, sensible, mature leadership. And they did. And they gave us and myself a second term as Premier. They gave the CCM a third term in office. We are now just about 2.5 years or so into that term. It means, therefore, on my calculation, that the 5-year marker will come in December of 2027. We are now in September 2025. And then we know that the drop dead date for an election is 3 months after the first sitting of Parliament. I'm advised that the first sitting of Parliament was in February of 2023. And it therefore means that the drop dead date for elections should be, if you add 3 months to 2020, to February, I'm sorry, March, April, May, we're talking about May of 2028. The reason I want to lay that out is I want to say to a lot of those who are perpetually beating the drums of politics and political division and tension in the country, you can settle down. There's no election that is around any corner. And I'm not just saying that because somehow I'm trying to hoodwink or trick or something. We are in government and we are in governance mode and we have work to do. The people have given us a mandate of 5 years. And so when you hear a lot of the racket, you will think that some election is happening and therefore people are getting ready. I will say to the people of Nevis that they know me and they know that I'm a fierce campaigner. Some have called me the campaigner-in-chief. They know when the time comes, the big blue machine will roll out because we always do. But until then, let us focus on getting the job done. And when we talk about the job, we must consider that the people of Nevis repose their trust and confidence in me as Premier and in my colleagues who were elected with me, the Honourable Spencer Brand and the Honourable Eric Evelyn, to form government in order to work for them. That is, to work for the people of Nevis. And what does that work entail? It means making the lives of our people easier. It means ensuring that our people have an environment where they can grow and prosper. It means ensuring jobs, training, education, healthcare. It means better infrastructure. It means attracting investors to our shores. It means growing the economy, paying down our debt, making sure that we leave this island better off, not worse off, for our being here. And that is exactly what we're trying to do. And I'm just appealing to the people of Nevis to close their ears to a lot of the ignorance that is being spouted on a daily basis. The unrelenting attacks, most of them false. Because it seems to me that every morning some people wake up and they say, what can I say today? It doesn't matter whether it's true or false. They simply say, what can I say today? The more salacious, the better. The more outrageous, the better. And just like I often remind us that it was trumpeted that the Ivor Walters Primary School had been shut down due to a cockroach infestation apparently caused by me, Mark Brantley, and I was to be blamed for the closure of the school, and the children were sent home and the parents were in a panic. When I called the principal said, I know nothing of the sort. School is going on as usual. The children are in the cafeteria eating and all is well. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the level of dishonesty that we have had in terms of the public debate in the country. Create alarm. And if it turns out to be untrue, no problem. Move on to the next thing to create alarm. And that has been a pattern. And after a certain pattern, after you've heard somebody cry wolf enough times, you get to the point where you just ignore them. And so we have to be focused. And that is why I have said that I intend to focus on development, focus on projects that we have in the pipeline and projects that we have on the ground that we are undertaking. We must focus on delivering better roads to our people. We must complete our drilling exercise and focus on delivering more potable water to our people. We must ensure that the people of Nevis continue to have water 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, wherever they are on the island, all 36 square miles. We must ensure that we have reliable electricity. And even now, as we continue to persist with our diesel-powered plant, we must move at pace to operationalize our geothermal potential. We think that geothermal has the capacity to revolutionize this island and this country, because we intend fully that the geothermal energy will be shared with our sister St. Kitts, so that the good people of St. Kitts can also benefit from cleaner, cheaper energy. We must move to complete our hospital facility, and continue what we have been doing, delivering excellent health care to the people of Nevis. We must with alacrity develop our schools, create better environments for our teachers and our students. We have seen some significant progress. Laptops and devices for most of our students and teachers. New desks and chairs through a partnership with the Winsong Foundation. More school buses so that our children now can be transported to and from school in comfort. And we continue to do repairs and upgrades at our schools. But we know that we need to do more because our people are demanding more and our people deserve more. And so we must continue to work, continue to develop, continue to progress on which we have set our foot, and continue to ensure that our people, the people of Nevis, live on an island which is the best place to live, to work, to raise their family. We must continue to attract investment to the island, both local and foreign. We know that some projects are much too large for local investors. A Four Seasons, for example, would arguably have been impossible if it were left up to local investors. And sometimes I hear the pundits, and pundits are who they are. They engage in punditry. Sometimes the pundit may not have a penny, but the pundit is engaging in punditry and trying to teach you how to build wealth. The pundit may not have a job, but he is engaging in punditry and he knows how to create thousands of jobs. That is the nature of some of our pundits. When you look at them, you wonder, how did they garner all of this life experience when in their own lives they have not demonstrated success at anything? And so that is the nature of some of the people who come to us, who offer themselves, who come and talk ad nauseum, who say all manner of things, but at the end of the day, when you examine them carefully, they really have nothing to offer. I recall a joke that I've shared with you as my audience before, that during one election cycle, a young man rang me and said that my opponent at the time, I've had so many, that they sat on a bench and the opponent said, I have a plan which will generate hundreds of jobs for young men like you. And I want you to give me a chance in government so I can execute that plan. The young man said to me that at the time he was between jobs, he was unemployed. He said he was drinking a Guinness. And he said he had a sip on his Guinness and he thought very carefully about what this NRP candidate had said to him. And then he turned to the NRP candidate and he said, boss, I hear you, but I'm not working at the moment. And you also are not working. So if I'm not working and you're not working, what kind of plan you could have to create job for me? And I thought it was an interesting observation by this young man. Because when you examine some of these individuals, one by one by one, the only consistent quality they have is that they fail at everything. And yet they have the answers for you. You who go out to work every day, you who are paying your bills, sending your children to school, building a little home for yourself, building a life for yourself. They have answers for you, but they have no answers for themselves. And you must ask yourself why. None of them that is putting themselves forward to advise you and tell you what is right and what is wrong and what to do and what not to do. None of them has demonstrated in their own lives that they have any capacity to succeed at anything. I don't believe that we must try to fashion a country where we are guided by failures. I don't believe that we should have a country where those who are least among us in terms of their own capacity and ability, that they should be the ones framing the narrative for the rest of us. I think that people of goodwill throughout the length and breadth of this island, and we are in the majority, that we should raise our voices to discuss important issues in a reasonable and intelligent way. We live in a democracy. it would be foolhardy to think that we will always agree. But what we must do is engage in a level of debate that brings honor to Nevis, not dishonor. Just this afternoon, I saw somebody say on social media that Mark Brantley had gone and passed legislation to take away people's land. And I smiled, because what is regrettable in our country, which boasts a literacy rate of nearly 100%, is that too many of our people simply do not pay attention. The legislation that was passed in the National Parliament on August 11 is only 8 pages long. It's quite simple reading. I think it only has 9 sections. And yet we prefer to let other people tell us what it says, rather than simply picking it up and reading it for ourselves. And if more people read things for themselves, in my humble opinion, a lot of the propaganda and the falsehood, a lot of the attempts to mislead us will fail. Because when a man tells you, for example, that this legislation allows people to create their own country inside Nevis, you can challenge them on the spot and say, find me the section, read me the section. And if there is no such section, then please apologize, because you have attempted to mislead. That is what we need to do. But that can only happen when we ourselves are informed, and we have taken the opportunity to inform ourselves. A young lady called me, and the young lady said that she had heard so many negatives about this sustainable zone legislation and all that it did and didn't do. How it was going to take away people's lands and take away people's land without compensation and all manner of things. And she said she thought to herself, this sounds too outlandish to be true. And I asked her, well, what did you do? She said, I simply went on YouTube and pulled up the debate in the National Parliament and listened to the speakers, the parliamentarians, what they had to say on this bill. And she said, after I had finished listening a few of them, I said, now I understand what the bill is about. And nobody can fool me, because I went to the source. I didn't need to listen to On the Mark or some other show or some caller. I went and I listened for myself. And now that I've listened for myself, I thoroughly understand what is afoot. And I think more of us need to just do that. Ignore the noise. Focus and get the information for yourself, and then make your own determination. Because a lot of the people who are making the most noise about this SEZ and other issues, when you peel away the curtain, they're the ones right behind that curtain who have got their private benefit. Their pockets are already full. But they get their pockets full in private. And then they come in public to posture and pontificate and tell you what to do and what not to do. I remember when MSR Media came here in the height of the pandemic to start a movie industry. One, in fact, which left an excellent foundation with us that we're still working on to build. And the same thing happens, because the same thing happens every time the government tries something. Every time there's an investor, anytime somebody comes forward. And so they started to attack Mr. Martinez and MSR Media. Now, of course, later MSR Media got involved with St. Kitts and some issues there. I'm talking about the time here in Nevis when they were making movies, employing people, teaching people the skills associated with movie making. The NRP went on the attack. They went on the rampage. And then, as slowly the information started to percolate, well, who on Nevis got the most money out of MSR? Is that the same NRP people? In fact, one of the talking heads was so bold as to go and say to MSR that they should give him a job for $5,000 a month and he will stop attacking them. I can't make this stuff up. So the reality is that what tends to happen on this island is that there's a whole load of noise And while you are distracted helping them make noise, they are behind the curtain filling their pocket. And I want you to be careful of people like that, ladies and gentlemen. There's a level of hypocrisy. Be careful of people like that. I did a rough analysis of my own recently. And between just 3 NRP bigwigs, and when I say bigwigs, I mean hefetoros, between just 3 of them, they sold approximately 100 acres of land to these same developers. And yet they're telling you, no, let us go to war. Let us fight. Well, it is much easier, I believe, for some to fight with their pocket full of cash. Much easier to fight with your pockets full of cash. And this is what I find to be so objectionable. Recently, NRP went up to New York, charged people $75 to attend some meet and greet. This is what I heard. And I said to myself, well, you mean you have all this money secured already? You couldn't go to New York and say to Nivisions there, please come mix and commingle. Let us as Nivisions break bread together and talk about the future of Nevis. No, you tried to wring $75. And I saw some of the photos and look at the handful of people that were there. Just the usual diehards. Nobody knew. And I said, look at this. Look at this. And that, I think, is the fundamental difference. Mother's Day, Father's Day, the CCM has a function. We invite our mothers, we invite our fathers, say, please come and spend time with us. And the ministers and the people around the party put something in the kitty, because we want to demonstrate to our people we're giving back. We want our people to feel comfortable on every one of those occasions. The other side has had an event, it has been a paid event. Mothers come, but you must pay. Fathers come, but you must pay. And so that tells you so much about some and what their motivation is. Is politics just about money? Is that what it is? Because there's a saying, you know, when people show you who they are, believe them. Is it just about money? Because it is the love of money that caused some to sell their land and collect their money, and then thereafter seek to bob and weave and fandangle. The love of money, and you see it playing out. There's some who on radio every day, on social media every day, they're not working anywhere. They boast and say how much education they have, but what is the value of that education if you cannot put it to use to help yourself and your family and the island that we all love? What's the use of having that bit of paper if you cannot then actualize that, because there are people out here with no paper who never went to nobody's school, but are making a difference in this community because they value hard work, they value honesty and integrity. And instead there are some, all they're doing is cooping. You got 8, 10 slips, the whole 11 man, 1 man bowling, 1 man keeping, and 9 slips. Everybody cooping for something to come off the edge, because they see their only solace, their only savior, their only opportunity is government and the treasury. Don't ask them to go out there to start a little business. I have said not even a little freco. You know what freco is for young people? It's a little shaved ice. Scoop, scoop, you shave the ice, you put it in a cup, and you put some syrup on it. Strawberry syrup, pineapple syrup, And sometimes, if you were like me, you ask them to mix and give you a little bit of each. Not even a Freco stand. These fellas in the inner period open. Nothing. They're just cooping. 11 players on the field, 1 bowling, 1 keeping, 9 slip fielders, praying that something come off the edge and land in their hand because they don't mean to work. You as a small businessman out there, you're hustling every day. You get up, you're doing what you need to do, you go, you pay your business license, you employ 2-3 people, you're making a difference. And here are people who refuse to work. So every day they advise you what is best for you. And they have all these grand ideas to share with you. But they're not walking away. And work is abundant in Nevis. But they don't intend. No. They want you who go out to work every day. Put them in a position over you so that they can make laws and rules and tell you what to do and what not to do. That's the objective. And so I am simply saying we as this island here can do a lot better. We can ensure that our conversations are uplifting and that we as a people can do much better than we have been doing. Now, I don't propose tonight to belabor any particular point. I want to just share some information and then I will move on. But I want to say that the Concerned Citizens Movement, as part of our giving back, will on Tuesday the 16th of September 2025 have a family fun day. That is National Heroes Day. It will be at the VOGen Playfield. It starts at 1 p.m. and goes until 7 p.m. We have DJ Lalbo, DJ Zimba, and we'll have lots of food available for you. You do not have to pay. Let me say it again. You do not have to pay. Just come out and enjoy yourself. We have tug of war, sack race, lime and spoon, dog and bone, dominoes, card games. We have, of course, the children covered. Play area, trampoline, you name it, go-karts. All of that is going to be there. And we are inviting our vendors to come to VOGen and set up, because we're hoping the whole of Nevis comes out. And so vendors will be selling their drinks, selling whatever they sell. Please come out. And we just want to have some wholesome fun. Because that's what we do in CCM. We are family. And the people of Nevis have been so good to us that at every opportunity we want to engage with them. Mix, mingle, talk, listen to people, listen to their issues, listen to whatever problems they may have. Try to help them as brothers and sisters. That is what we do. And as servant leaders, that is our sworn duty. And so on the 16th, starting at 1 p.m. at VOGen Playfield, I hope that I'll be able to be on the grill. I like to do that. And they tell me that it seems like I can't make the team for the tug of war. But whatever I can do, I will do, and I will be there. God willing. And I just invite people to come out and enjoy themselves. I also, while I'm at it, want to say to you that we are aware as a government that the very last lap for Culturama, that the police took the decision, which is in their purview, to close down the festivities early because of some altercations between a few revelers. We have heard the cries of our vendors who were naturally concerned that with the festivities ended early, they were not able to get many sales. And so the Honorable Eric Evelyn and his team have come forward, and they are having something called Last Lap 2.0. And that will be on Monday, September 15th. That is the night before National Heroes Day. It will be at the Cultural Village, starting at 8 p.m. And here's who they're going to have. It's going to be hosted by DJ Woodis. They have their Ultimate Band, X Factor Band, X-Man, New Wave Band, New Vibes Band, Blackstone Collision Band, Akayu Suite, SG Presidential, New Level Sound, Sweet Sister Sensia, Adora, Soca Empress, Tebulous, Ras and Rokodan, DJ Smudge, DJ Madlinks. That's the entertainment lineup. It will be right there at the Cultural Village, and admission is free. 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 That is going to be a massive event on September 15th. That's the Monday night. Come out. The idea behind it is that by bringing our people together to celebrate National Heroes Day, which falls the following day, but also to give all those vendors in the Cultural Village an opportunity to have that last lap 2.0. I want to thank the Honorable Eric Evelyn and his team for coming up with this idea, because I think, again, it demonstrates that we hear, we see, we understand, and we are seeking at every step of the way to make life better for our people. That's what governments are supposed to do. Governments are to demonstrate that they care. Governments are to demonstrate that they have your interests at heart. And whenever you see people who are more about them than about you, they're not the right people to invest in. And so, we will continue to do our part and continue to play our role. Now, ladies and gentlemen, before I open the lines, let me just quickly segue. Because I would have hosted a group from St. Bart's who came, their minister, they call her the president of the Tourism Authority, and her team. Now, it was rather interesting because I was in St. Bart's some months ago, as you know. And whilst I was there, I had conversations with the president of St. Bart's and also with Madam Alexandra Questel. And Alexandra is the head of tourism there, an elected representative. And they indicated to me that they were leading a team to another island for a familiarization visit. And I said to them, why not come to Nevis? And they said, really? I said, yes, please. Come to Nevis, because I am quite keen to foster closer relations between Nevis and St. Bart's. And they showed up, they came. And I want to go on record to thank the Nevis Tourism Authority, particularly Shalicia Glassford, who's there, our new CEO, Andy Raveri, and the entire team. I know Cavill Swanston was involved. Swanston, forgive me, Mrs. Cavill Howell. But the entire team was engaged, and the feedback from the St. Bart's delegation has been amazing. They went hiking, they played golf, they went to the hot springs, they went horseback riding, they had dinners and lunches, they had a wonderful time. And why is that important? I say that because I am speaking now to our people and saying to them that there are a number of opportunities that we should try to seize. St. Bart's is a wealthy little island very close by. By light airplane, maybe 15 minutes flight, and by boat, it takes maybe an hour and a half. Now, St. Bart's doesn't have the capacity to grow any food of any quantity, in any quantity. And so one of the things that they said to me is that they have a very high-end clientele, people who pay tens of thousands of dollars to stay in St. Bart's and to stay at their hotels and eat at their restaurants. And they indicated to me that a lot of their food still comes from France, all the way in France. And that food is flown from France to Guadeloupe. And then from Guadeloupe, it finally makes its way to them. Sometimes they say that affects the freshness of the food that they get. And they can well receive food sometimes that is days old. I thought, what if our farmers in Nevis were incentivized to grow melons, to grow cucumbers, tomatoes, lettuce, leafy greens of all kinds, cabbage, corn, but specifically geared to that export market that is St. Bart's. When I mention Mangoes. Their faces lit up. They love mangoes in St. Bart's, but guess what? They don't have any. They say sometimes they get from some of the other islands. But what again if we could be piping our mangoes into St. Bart's? They mention coconuts. They love coconut water. And when I ask you, where do you get coconuts from? They say sometimes they get from St. Martin. I start to laugh because I don't know that St. Martin has any set of coconuts. We have over 5,000 coconut palms right there at Indian Castle, with more over at New River. We have the capacity right here in Nevis to start a rigorous trade with St. Bart's. It's close, and we could get them fresh produce. That's on the agricultural side. Then we're developing our airport. St. Bart's has said to us that when the season is on, Juliana Airport in St. Martin, which is their main hub, is full. I have been to St. Martin during that period, especially over Christmas, and the jets are parked, the private jets are parked wing to wing. And they have said that if we are going to develop this facility at Van Sammer International, as we plan to start soon, then there's the opportunity for a lot of their private jet owners to park their jets in Nevis instead, and then take light aircraft to St. Bart's. We're talking about the possibility of getting a fixed link, air link between Nevis and St. Bart's, to allow our guests and locals to travel to St. Bart's and vice versa. St. Bart's, for example, does not have golf. We do. St. Bart's doesn't have the hiking trails and all that we do. The St. Bart's visitors were fascinated to see donkeys and monkeys. They say in St. Bart's the only wild animals they have are goats. That's a good wild animal to have. So there are a number of opportunities for us to engage. And I just want our people to understand is that we are not doing these things by accident. We are working to a plan. We're developing relationships which we hope are going to bear fruit over time. I want to touch on one last matter before I open the lines. And that last matter has to do with, again, the hysteria that has been created because in response to a query about the proposed resort development on the South Coast, I was asked how many people I anticipate. I said I would think between 7,000 to 10,000 people should be passing through, living, visiting. Remember, they're talking about 3 resort communities, residences and high-end resorts. And I have been listening to the debate, and some people are saying how outrageous it is to have that many people on Nevis, and I have listened, and I have said to myself, I wonder if our people are aware of a little island called Bermuda. Bermuda is not only one of the richest islands per capita in the Caribbean, and not one of, it is the richest island per capita in the Caribbean. Bermuda is one of the richest islands per capita in the world. And Bermuda is 22 square miles. And therefore, Nevis is 1.5 times bigger than Bermuda. But Bermuda has 65,000 people on 22 square miles. Nevis on 36 square miles has 13,500 people based on the most recent census released this year. And our sister St. Kitts has, I believe, 38 or so thousand on St. Kitts on 68 square miles. It therefore means that the entire population of St. Kitts and Nevis on a landmass of 68 plus 36, that's 104 square miles, is only just over 50,000 people. Think about that. that St. Kitts and Nevis is nearly 5 times the size of Bermuda. And Bermuda has 65,000 people. We have 52,000. Just over 50,000, I'm sorry, on St. Kitts and Nevis. You cannot, ladies and gentlemen, develop a country, an economy, without people. And in order to move St. Kitts and Nevis forward, we need people. And to get people, you need, one, your own local population to grow. You need, two, our people in the diaspora to come home where they can, and I've issued that invitation to them. And three, you need people to come in from outside. You know, the thing that troubles me is that we like to act brand new sometimes. When you look at countries around the world, many of them we look at and we marvel at how great they are. Singapore, oh, the Singapore model is fantastic. The United Arab Emirates, everybody now wants to go to Dubai. But when you look at the population of Singapore, the population of Dubai, you see that they are built on an immigrant labor population. When you look at those populations, and these are societies that we admire, we marvel at how well they've done. They have figured out a way to have investment come in, to have people come in to work and live, pay taxes, generate revenue, generate activity. And that is what happens. And I want our people to start to broaden that horizon. I heard a fellow one time, used to be on radio a lot, in lambasting foreigners, because we all know NRP does not like foreigners. They say it all the time. He said that, and he was cussing Guyanese. They were overrunning Nevis. And I remember one day I said to him, brother, take a drive up the hill in Brown Hill. Go past Sandy with Sandy Fried Chicken. Go right on the crest of the hill. Park your car and look over. Because for miles, there is absolutely nothing but bush. Miles. Thousands of acres. Nothing but bush. And whilst I know that some would like Christopher Columbus to recognize Nevis if he were to come back, we who are here must start to look and say, how do we develop the island? You know, one of the fundamental problems we have in government, our tax base is so thin that it is almost impossible to do things that our people want us to do. That is why we keep incurring debt. Because of 13,500 people, when you take out the elderly, you take out the sick, you take out the children, and those who are underage, you take out those who are in school, you take out those who can't work or won't work, you end up with a very small pool, you know. Maybe about 6,500 people, 7,000 if you're lucky, are really the ones who are required to carry the island. The ones who are paying taxes and paying social security and the like. So I'm saying to our people, a lot of the knee-jerk reactions that we're getting is really because people are not really thinking about development. So calm, sensible discussion is being replaced by emotion and hysteria. Oh, we're going to lose Nevis. How are you going to lose Nevis? Nevis is you, and you are Nevis. So to lose Nevis is to lose yourself. And every time there's some development that is promised, the arguments come and they're all the same. Four Seasons came, there were many who say, where are we going to catch crab now? And where are we going to pick coconut? But Four Seasons came, So Simeon Daniel brought that hotel, and it has provided a payday for anywhere from 600 to up to 1,000 families at a time. Sometimes 3-4 people in the same family working at Four Seasons. People have built homes, educated their children, bought vehicles, took their vacation because of Four Seasons. Taxi drivers, farmers, fishers, divers, man selling conch, man selling lobster, have made a living. Restaurants around this island here, they benefited because Four Seasons is there. So who should we have listened to? The man who say he wanted to catch crab or pick coconut? Or those at the time, interestingly, the NRP in government at the time, who pushed through and had that development done? That so many, even some now who are costing the most, work at Four Seasons and don't seem to understand the symbolism that it is development why they have a job and can provide for their families. Now they say they don't want any more development. And then in the same breath they turn around and say the investors are out at sea. Let's take the calls now. 5 minutes to the hour of 9 o'clock. We're here until 10. And we're going to open the lines as usual. The numbers are 869-469-1616 and 869-469-1700. Let's go straight to the phones and say good evening. You're on the mark.
Good evening, Miss Sherry.
Good evening, my friend. How are
Psalm
you?
I'm good.
Yes.
Psalm 130, verse 2 and 3. Lord, hear my voice. Let thine ears be attentive to the voice of my supplication. If thou shouldest mark iniquity, O Lord, who shall stand? Have a good evening.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Iniquity, who shall stand? Thank you for your scripture, my friend, and I pray and hope that all is well with you. We're taking your calls, and we're hoping for some lively debate and discussion this evening. 869-469-1616 and 869-469-1700. Those are the numbers to call, please. And so we hope that you'll call in and share your views and opinions on whatever the issues are that you would like addressed. Let's go back to the phones and take some more calls. Good evening, you're on the mark.
869-469-1700.
Caller, please move away from the radio or the computer and listen to the phone so that we could have a conversation.
Hi, good night.
Yes, good night. How are you?
Yes, I'm great. I tuned in a little late, so I'm not sure if I missed this, but in reference to the proposal that was submitted for potential SSD, did they give a number of how many acres they were looking for?
They're targeting just over 2,400 acres. That was a target, but of course it depends on how much land they'll be able to lease or purchase.
Okay.
So we don't know what the land is going to work out to be, but that was a target area.
Okay. So they're targeting 2,400 acres. So I'm assuming they came in with a proposal that covers, the hotels you talked about, the resort communities that covers this 2,400 acres. So what happens if they don't get 2,400 contiguous acres?
Well, as I said, caller, you have made an assumption because you said they've come with a proposal that covers 2,400 acres. Please remember, of course, that if you're doing a development, you need land for green spaces, you need land for recreational spaces. I believe that there is contemplation of golf, a golf course, so you need all of that as well. So it is not a question of saying that 24, it's not like you're tiling a 2,400 acre room, and so you have a tile for each of spot in that land. That is not the way it works. So I'm sorry,
I'm confused. If they submitted a proposal, I asked you how much land did they want, and you said 2,400 acres. So I'm assuming, I think the natural assumption would be that the proposal addressed 2,400 acres. I'm confused.
Caller, well, I'm trying to. If you listen to me, give me the opportunity to explain. You started out by saying that you assumed that all 2,400 acres was accounted for. I'm just trying to say, if you're building a 5,000 square foot home, you could target putting that home on 2 acres of land. The rest of the land is just grass. It's just landscaping. So what I'm trying to say to you is that whilst that's the target, it's not as if we have a proposal that says that every inch of that 2,400 acres is going to be used. We cannot, because they don't know if they're going to get that much land. So the proposal has come, and the proposal is really laying out what they intend to do in terms of a resort community and what it is they're seeking to achieve in terms of jobs and the economy and all of that. So that is what we've been looking at. So if at the end of the day, let us say they only get 1,800 acres, naturally they will have to adjust or fit their plans within the land space that they're able to acquire. So I hope that is now clear to you.
No, it's not clear.
Okay.
Okay. So what did they come to you with? How much acres have they secured thus far?
Caller, I would not know how much acres they have secured, because that is a process that is still ongoing. So I have not had an update from them as in terms of how many acres they've actually secured. I know that negotiations are still ongoing in relation to that.
But in your last show, you said that they came back with a proposal because they felt they had secured enough land to now come back with a proposal. Whereas when they first came to you, you told them to go out and seek the land. And now that they've, quote unquote, gotten enough land, that they have now come back to you. So how could there not be a conversation about how much land had been secured before they would come back to you?
Caller, you're asking. Caller. Yes, but in order to have a conversation, caller, it requires that I listen to you and that you listen to me.
Yes, but I'm not finished with my question.
But I don't know the question is based on some. Okay, go ahead, caller. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I'm simply saying, if you sent them away to secure land when they first came to you, you said they went away. They told you that they've now secured enough land to come back to you with a proposal, right? So I would assume even if you're now saying that they wanted 2,400 acres, even if I don't have that many acres yet, if I'm coming in to request, quote unquote, a project on the SSD, I think I would outline what my entire 2,400 acres looks like. And obviously, if I only get some, then I scale back the project. And also, if they're coming back to you now, having secured some land, how is it that you don't have a number of how much that land is? What if it's only 50 acres? Then why are they coming to you if they've only got 50 acres when their dream is 2,400 acres?
So caller,
why are you engaging them if you don't know how much land they've secured?
Caller, again, I think that you are ignoring the fact that this is a dynamic process, that the folks have come, they've set out what their intentions are. Those intentions may be realized, they may not be realized. At this juncture, I'm not in a position to tell you that they've secured X acres of land or Y acres of land. What I can tell you is that, as far as I know, negotiations are still ongoing in relation to lands. So what we are evaluating at this point is the nature of the project. We are evaluating the economic impact that this project is intended to have. We're looking to see whether or not the requirements set out in Section 5, the preconditions, are satisfied. How are you going to provide water? How are you going to provide electricity? How are you going to provide for your infrastructure, your waste management, the social and environmental impact assessment? There's still a tremendous level of work to be done. And that is the stage at which we are at. So you're asking me to give you specifics, and I'm trying to say that those specifics are not yet available. Not that they won't be available, but that they're not yet available.
So do you understand where my disconnect is? You said you sent them away to secure land.
Caller, we heard you already. It's not going to get any better by repeating it.
I'm not repeating myself. But but if you're saying that you don't have any more information than you had when you sent them away, why couldn't they have submitted their proposal then? Because
caller, that is not what I'm saying, and that is what I'm saying.
Last week.
Caller, please. This is not a shouting match. Caller. Could we give this caller a pause, please? Caller, perhaps you can listen off ear, because clearly it doesn't appear that you're willing to listen on ear. I just said to you, caller, that it is important, and I said it in my soliloquy to lead up to the show. if we're going to have a conversation, then let us have a conversation. I don't know who you are, and I don't know whether you feel that calling and carrying on at a rate and not being prepared to listen is the way that we do things on the mark. That's not the way we operate here. If you have a point to make, then make your point. You keep repeating yourself. And frankly, I'm not sure where you're going, because I'm trying to explain to you what the process is. You're saying that the process doesn't make sense to you. I submit that nothing I say is probably going to make sense to you, because it doesn't appear that you have called in to be informed. It appears you have called in just to say what you want to say. So I'm just saying, if you're going to call this show and we're going to have a conversation, then the conversation requires you to talk and then be quiet so that you can listen to the response. It requires me to listen to you and then you'd listen to me. But if all you want to do is chat, then I don't need to be here. You can buy an hour on Von Radio and you just come and talk for an hour. So if you're going to call back in, and I hope you do, let us have a conversation. And that's what I keep saying. And that is why we are not doing justice. I'm trying to explain to you the process. I am the Premier of Nevis. I am involved in the process. I don't recognize your voice. I don't think you're in the cabinet. So at this stage, you're not involved in the process, but you're not prepared to listen. So how are you going to learn in terms of what the process is? So let us take a step back, take a deep breath. You want to call in again, do so. But please, this is not some kind of, this ain't the market. This is an opportunity for sensible people to have a debate and hopefully to learn from each other and hopefully to have the kind of debate that people listening learn something as well. All right? It is 6 minutes past the hour. I'm going to open the lines again and take your calls. Good evening. You're on the mark.
Hi. Good evening, Mr. Brantley. How are you?
I am doing well. Thank you. Good evening to you.
So I was just curious if there are any amendments to the bill that are currently in motion, the same SSD bill.
Not as far as I'm aware, no.
Okay. Thank you.
You're most welcome. It's 6 minutes past the hour. We're taking your calls at 469-1616 and 469-1700. Those are the numbers to call if you want to be a part of the show. And we certainly invite you to call in and share your views. 869-469-1616, 869-469-1700. We have about 54 minutes left, and I hope that callers are going to use every minute of it. Now, while we wait for the phones to ring, let me just report that we have had some very good news in tourism. And I was very proud at my last press conference to report that as of August, our revenue from our tourism and development levy, which is 3%, we increased it to 3% effective June 1st. And that tourism and development levy had yielded up to August 2025 as much as it has yielded for the entire year of 2024. I think that that is a fascinating statistic and something that we should all be proud of. I want to again commend the NTA, commend the Ministry of Tourism as well, and commend all of our stakeholders who continue to really push to make tourism in Nevis a success. It is what our economy is based on. Let's go back to the phones and say good evening. You're on the mark. Hello.
Good night.
Yes, good evening to you.
How are you doing? How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Not bad. It feels like, one little hot water, and you see, as men listen, it seems like, on the listeners, I not communicate.
What you said?
As men listen to you and the call, like I not communicate.
Well, communication requires listening when somebody else is talking and giving them a chance. So I'm going to listen to you now, and you can communicate to me. When you're done, I expect you to listen and I communicate to you. That's how it works?
Yes.
Okay.
What me communicate, but what me tell you, what me observe is that anyway, let me ask you this question first. Since this zone business come up, it feels like the CSA talk done with.
Why would you say that? Because you're not talking about it?
No. Remember the last you and the premier, the prime minister was supposed to meet.
Mm.
for your thing and me not hear you say nothing about it. So I know me and you.
Ah.
Right. So the fair share talk done with?
Absolutely not. I don't know where you get that from, but obviously we've had a matter that has been creating quite a bit of public attention, and which there was a lot of misinformation, and which required that it be dealt with.
Yes. Right. So that's how me ask. Some ask now, if this matter, you know, stop the fair share talking. That's how me ask.
Well, Carl, let me just answer you. You now listen to me.
Yeah,
I just said to you that this matter has been topical. There was a considerable degree of misinformation, and therefore, as the head of government, I had to respond publicly to clarify and to clear up that misinformation. What is difficult about that? That doesn't say that anything has stopped. It merely explains why that has been dominating the public airwaves.
So then, getting the fair share for boost the economy. Yeah, that's one matter of just something come up here like that is start getting revenue for the economy.
Well, I don't know where you're headed with this, because what you're saying really doesn't make much sense to me. I've explained to you that this issue is a topical issue. If a hurricane comes tomorrow and you have to deal with that hurricane, you don't understand that that will dominate the public space for whatever period it takes to deal with that?
Okay, let me move on. Let me move on.
Please move on, because the point
Yes,
the point
let
you're
me move
making,
on.
you know, you could make a better point than that. Go ahead.
Well,
Try again. Try something else. Go ahead.
well, I mean, remember people are listening to you, you know. So
That's what I tell you. I tell you, try something else.
Yeah, people are listening to
Yeah, that is why that one there was a no ball.
No problem.
Right.
Listen to me. Listen to me, brother.
Yeah, man.
We can use the word rumor on your show.
You could say the word rumor, but I don't respond to rumors.
Okay. So
Yes.
let me not use rumor then.
Uh-huh.
It is true. May I ask you a question now?
Mhm.
If I'm sure that one of your cabinet member me on proposal to a hotel in the same area there that the developers them want.
Yes, I think that there was a proposal to do a development there by one of my cabinet colleagues. Yes, I don't know if it was a hotel proposal, but certainly there was something.
That they put on hold or
Well, I would not know that. You would have to speak to that cabinet member. I have not. I have I have not engaged with him on that project in a very long time, so I don't know.
okay. Okay, so this last one you know about, right?
No, that was what you call a full toss.
Okay, let me give somebody a chance and me come back here and Google it.
All right, all right, my brother. Thanks a lot for the call, and I appreciate it. Okay.
No problem.
We're taking your calls, ladies and gentlemen, at 869-469-1616 and 869-469-1700. And you see, like that caller we called in, yeah, it's a little levity. You know, that's what I think we need. We need, even where we don't agree, that people are not so vitriolic. It is really, it does us no good. And you know, somebody tell me the other day, a lot of the vengeance that some of them have, it's almost as if it's like a cancer. Let's not get ourselves into that state. We already have a high and too high incidence of hypertension. Blood pressure is a big problem here. Let us instead conduct ourselves in a sensible way and not let our personal emotions guide us, but rather good sense, common sense. Let's use that. Let's go back to the phones and take some calls. I'm sorry, caller, could you call back in? 469-1616, 469-1700. We're asking callers to be patient. Let's see if we have somebody on the line. Do we have somebody holding? Yeah, let's try this one. Good evening, you're on the mark. Hello?
Hey, man.
Yes, caller?
Hey, man. Hey, man.
Yes.
I just come and say, here up to me bar up there in St. Grace. Meow.
Meow.
Up there in St. Grace. Me not stop plan cause me money though.
All right.
So, good night.
Good night, my brother. Good night to you. And I'm sure meow them hear you loud and clear. All right. We're taking your calls. 1:15. We have 45 minutes left on the mark. And we are accepting your calls at 869-469-1616 and 869-469-1700. While we wait for the phones to ring, let me just... All right, let's take this call then. Good evening, caller. You're on the mark.
Good evening, sir. How are we doing?
Good evening to you. I'm not doing too badly at all.
Okay, first of all, I want to commend Dr. Joe and for the Africa connection and ask him to set aside 1% of the national budget to facilitate us who want to move back from off this slave plantation because we want to go home. Number two.
So wait, caller, before you go, you're saying that you would want some of the national budget to do what? Relocate people to Africa?
Yeah, for us to return home. We want to stand this plantation our life and be subjugated to people like Donald Trump them and the racist point of view. We want to go back home.
Okay.
We can't wait in them no longer. And number two, I think that the political system is to poison.
Mm-hmm.
That you just put in the words Jarry. That is the biggest zone of thing in Europe, and it's here in Guadeloupe. With over 50,000 businesses. It's bigger than Bastille. And something it's development. There's thousands of people who work there. It's one of the most jam-packed places in Guadeloupe. People go there every day. There's smaller ones like that. One in my area. Mm-hmm. We have a butchery. You have a bakery. You have a store. You have a car wash, a gas station, and fisheries, selling food, telephone, all in one area, just 5 acres, 4 acres. So there are big ones and there are small ones. So the politicizing of this thing is not good. It's forcing to try to gain political mileage. And that is not good because it's just to point in Jarry. Jarry is your biggest zone of commercial development, and it's right here in Guadeloupe. And you could buy from Kia to CBD, which is ganja without THC, and you could even buy a woman if you want to. Yeah? Give that.
All right, well, thank you very much. The last part, they're not sure about that, but Jarry, you said, I've not heard of it, but I will do some research and find it for myself. But you make the point, and I think I've been making the point that the idea of development zones is not new at all. The difference here is that we're twinning this with sustainability, and that really is really what we're trying to set apart, that this has to be based on the pillars of sustainability. That's why they're talking about, you must build, which is climate smart, climate resistant. You must have the type of infrastructure that is shows the correct adaptation in terms of climate. So all of these factors. So the sustainability factor is really what we're trying to build into the idea here in St. Kitts and Nevis. But you're absolutely correct that this is nothing new. Let's go back to the phones and take some more calls. Good evening. You're on the mark.
You must.
Hello.
Good evening, Mr. Premier.
Yes, good evening to you.
I have a couple of questions.
Sure.
In the presentation of the proposed project on the south side of Nevis,
Mm-hmm.
did you bring that proposal, or it was presented to you?
I couldn't bring a proposal, caller. I'm not the developer. So the proposal would have come.
My question is, why are you griping so much over pushing this proposal?
What do you mean griping?
Why are the owners of the project not pushing the proposal?
But I'm sure that will come. I am only talking about this because of the level of misinformation that was in the public domain.
Okay.
People were actually getting upset because people were telling them crazy things, like these people are going to create their own country.
Okay.
Like fishermen can't go in the sea.
I don't need to get into that again.
Well, I'm just explaining to you. You asked why am I speaking, and I'm explaining to you why.
Yeah, well, let me continue with my second question.
Go ahead.
In your quest for pushing this project, Do you really have the people of Nevis in mind?
Call, I'm the Premier of Nevis. My job is to have the people of Nevis in mind. And if a project is going to come to Nevis, which could have an impact, the likes of Four Seasons and bigger.
Mr. Premier,
You asked me a question. Are you going to allow me to answer?
Before you go on, because you're going where I didn't ask you. I asked you, did you have the people of Nevis in mind?
So, caller, I am trying to answer you. As the Premier of Nevis, it is my job and my sworn duty to have the people of Nevis in mind in everything that I do.
Did you have them in mind?
What is it? You're not listening,
caller? I understand you're saying, let me not raise my voice. I understand you're saying that it's your job. But did you have them in mind?
Well, caller, everything I do, I just said that I have the people of Nevis. Yes caller, okay, so you can't, caller, please. You can't call in the radio, ask me a question, and then you answer the question for yourself.
No.
Okay? If you ask me a question, wait, hold on, caller. If you call this radio station and you ask me a question, please allow me the courtesy of answering you. It may not be the answer you want.
Mr.
But I love don't Mr. Premier me. If you're calling the station and asking a question, then allow me to have the opportunity to answer you. I said in response to your question that everything that I do as Premier of Nevis, I have the people of Nevis at heart.
Okay.
That is what I said to you.
Thank you. Could I go on with it?
Yes, of course.
Follow-up question.
Absolutely.
When they brought the project to you, did you ever think to suggest to them that since the land belongs to the people of Nevis, instead of telling them to go out there and buy what you can and lease what you can and that kind of thing, partner with the people of Nevis. You have an idea, partner with them. They have the land, you have the idea. Partner with the people of Nevis so that we could keep our heritage. Did you ever think of that?
Caller, the developers came with a particular project that they want to do. That project required them to have access to land. How they access that land, in terms of purchase, lease, partnership, that is a matter for the developers. So there was no issue where I was engaged in advising the developers to do this or to do that. They're the ones who have come to us. And so it is for them to find ways to find land if they want to do a development on that land. And that's the point that I've been trying to make. So the government is not in the business of advising developers. Developers come and the government says, well, if you want to develop land, since you can't do a development in the year, then go and find a way to get that land. That might be through, as you're pointing, cooperation and collaboration. It might be through purchase. It might be through a lot of things. I spoke to a lady just yesterday. No, not yesterday, I'm sorry, a few days ago. And that lady indicated to me that she had some lands in the area that she has been trying to sell for 30 years.
Mr. Premier, please save the storytelling on my phone call, please. I am.
Caller, you call my show, you know.
I was going to go on to something else.
You call my show.
Yeah, I know.
Well, exactly. So you don't tell me to save the story time. If you do not want, caller, if you do not want a conversation, caller, I am not understanding. Caller, I am not understanding. Caller, we are not going to get anywhere if you believe that you can call in and just shout. Please try and listen. Caller. Please try and listen.
Could I get the question?
Could you listen for a moment, caller? It will help us both if you're prepared to listen.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to argue with you like
well, it doesn't mean it does.
I understand exactly what the lady was saying.
Caller, the point that I'm trying to make.
You come to us in 1 week and you say one thing.
Caller.
You come back a second week and you say another thing and it doesn't add up.
Caller, that is part. But caller, this is.
The lady was trying to get you to understand that it doesn't add up.
Caller.
This is the kind of thing that you get.
Caller, this is part of the difficulty.
You're always boasting that you don't cut people off. You cut the lady off.
Caller.
I thought that was very disrespectful.
Caller, please, if you call the show and you're not prepared to have a conversation, then there's a simple solution. Don't call the show.
Well,
I don't understand that you're calling and all it seems you want to do tonight is to have a platform, to maybe it is you want to cuss somebody. Well, if you want to cuss somebody, that somebody isn't me, because I've not done anything to you. You want to call and you want to posture and shout and carry on a show that is being hosted by me. Well, you're out of order. I didn't call you. I did not call you. You called me. But you don't want to listen. And so you are right. If you don't listen, how it is you're going to learn? How it is you're going to know what the facts are? Because you're not prepared to listen. You're in an echo chamber, only you must talk. You alone must shout. And you're going to tell me that you don't want no conversation on your call. This is a talk show. And it's hosted by me. So caller, please understand. And I think a little humility would go a long way. If you pick up your phone and you call and you have a question, let's have a conversation. I don't know what you're so hot under the collar about and so riled up about, because you keep seeming to argue that I am saying different things at different times. But how would you know if you're not prepared to listen? And this is a clear demonstration that you're not prepared to listen. That's a very important thing. Listening. Understanding comes through listening, hearing what people have to say. Once you've listened, you can then respond. That's the way conversations normally work. I know your parents taught you that, mine taught me that, so how come we forget it now? Let's go back to the phones and take some more calls. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Hello?
You're on the air, go ahead.
Yeah, good evening. Every night on your mark, before you start, you will lay out the grounds rules, the housekeeping rules.
Yes.
But yet, I mean, these persons seemingly not understanding. They want to call, acting as if they own the show or they are the host, not giving you a chance. I think you're being too lenient on them. It's only one thing to do, just, if they were disrespect, you cut them off.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think kind of what happened, you know, they're obviously mad because all the lies that was spreading in regards to this piece of legislation, their lies have been exposed and they're angry. So they are calling in now, trying to frustrate you. But as I said, you have already laid the housekeeping rules. If they break the rule, it's simple. Cut them off. Because if you don't, guess what's going to happen? People are listening who are sensible, and then they're going to perceive that your standard of the show is going to drop because of these ignorant persons. So you will have to make that decision. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for that, caller. And, you know, I think over the years, it has not been my habit to cut off people. And this caller just referenced that because obviously he's a person who listens to the show. But he should also understand that we have standards on the show that we try to maintain. And you're absolutely right. I say all the time, listen, I really am not afraid of different opinions. I live in a democracy. I'm a politician. I go out every day and have to deal with people of all walks of life who have different views on different matters. But this particular caller keeps saying, oh, you're trying to say different things at different times. How would he know? Because if this call is a demonstration of his approach, he's not listening. And you could only learn by listening. When you go to school, the teacher put up on the board, see spot run, 1 + 1. You got to listen to the teacher, otherwise how you going to learn? If you're back there in the back of the class chatting, and the teacher is trying to call you and tell you pay attention, you're not paying attention, how are you going to learn? And that is the problem we have in some quarters in Nevis right now. Emotion, raw emotion, people vex people, this, people, that. And at the end of the day, emotion replaces common sense, common decency, and you can't even have a conversation anymore. Now the caller was asking me if I'm looking out for the people of Nevis. Caller, I want to ask you, when the Four Seasons came to Nevis, do you think the government of the day was trying to look out for the people of Nevis? When any development comes to the country, do you think that we're trying to look out? As an NIA, we introduce a non-contributory pension scheme for any workers, so after years of labor, they could go home with something. Do you think we're looking out for the people of Nevis? Our motto as a party and as a government is our people matter most. So if you don't agree that people should be able to sell their land, then that's a matter for you. All you do, if you have land, don't sell yours. But you can't stop another man or vex with another man or vex with me. I know nobody could tell me what I should do with my land. And I'm sure nobody could tell you what you should do with your land if you own land. So why begrudge other divisions the same rights that you have? And that's the part I don't understand. Some of us are setting up ourselves like we know better than other people. I know more than you. I am going to tell you what you should do. But guess what? You don't want nobody to tell you what to do. So just allow divisions. Divisions are sensible people. And the point I was trying to make to you is you're saying that people should come in and collaborate. A woman told me that she had her land on the market for 30 years. 30 years she said she's trying to sell this land. So a woman like that is not interested in any collaboration. She wants to cash out. She wants to sell her land and move on. So what you want me as the government to do? Become a dictator and tell that woman you cannot sell your land? The caller, could I tell you that? If you got a piece of land, caller, and your child is sick and you need money, you have a child in school and needs to pay tuition, or you want to build a home or invest in a business, well, it's your right. And it's almost as if you all are saying to government, the government must intrude and take a big stick and as a dictator tell people you cannot sell your land. But that would be something new in the island of Nevis. Never before have I heard that suggestion that government has that power. And so, why are we getting so angry and riled up? If the government was selling out thousands of acres of land, I could understand. But as I've made it plain to say, the government has not sold 1 square inch of land. In fact, the last land we had over there, 238 acres, was traded to the National Bank for debt, not by us, but by the previous government, NRP. So, what really is the issue? And this caller seemed like he wanted to get personal, and I'm not saying, but I don't even know what it is you want to get personal about. I don't know that I've done anything to you, whoever you are, and I certainly know that you have not done anything to me. So why are we getting so emotional about these things? Let us discuss development. Let us discuss where Nevis is going. That's all. Let's go back to the phones and see if anybody's there. Good evening, you're on the mark. Hello?
Yes, good night.
If you can move away from the phone, from the radio.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Good night, Mr. Brantley.
Yes, good evening to you.
Yeah, very good show. Good show.
Thank you.
May the Lord give you the wisdom and grace, as you lead this country. Mr. Brantley, they have some bitter people out there. From the time you won this election, people get bitter against you. I mean, and even as I'm speaking there, you have some on the chat there spewing some venom like some old rattlesnake. You understand? Now, this guy here that called, and even the woman, they have what they call malicious intention. You hear, Mr. Bradley? Malicious intention. And all what they are trying to do is to, damage your reputation. Brother, let me tell you, you have been put there by God. You did a good job. Continue to do what you are doing. I listened to the last program you had there, and you explained this thing so perfectly. Because, as I said, Mr. Brantley, there was so much confusion out there. This guy, Glendale, who tried to mislead Nivision, up to now, he has not said to Nivision that I have misled you by saying certain things against the proposed project coming up. When Weber put him on the spot, he said he didn't get it. And up to now, he has not given an apology and said to Nevis people that he's sorry for misleading. And this is what you are doing. clear up this misconception. You know, these followers with a wicked agenda. Here, I mean, there's something good that's coming in, and them against it. Them against it. And so, Mr. Brantley, whatever you do, man, let me tell you, Jesus Christ was on this earth, and he do a lot of things, and you had the opposition. I'm not saying that you Jesus Christ, but I'm just trying to draw something here.
Mm-hmm.
There are some jokers out there, they're going to oppose and oppose and oppose and oppose, you know, want to make you, I mean to look bad. I am praying for you.
Well,
continue. You are doing a good job. Continue to do what you're doing. The Lord bless you, Mr. Brantley.
Thank you very much, caller. And I think you've hit on a very valid point, that what we have in the country is opposition for the sake of opposition. There's no sensible approach. You have people calling and they have their agenda, whatever that agenda is, and it doesn't matter whether the agenda is based on fact or foolishness. It is just an attempt, as you say, to shout to, I don't know who they think they can bully, because they should know they can't bully me. So shout and carry on, and for what? For what? So I don't understand why it is we have to go down the road of trying to be disrespectful and trying to have all the venom and the anger, because we're talking about Nevis and we're talking about development. Do I care about Nevisians? That's why I want to bring jobs, so Nevisians can find work in their country. When our young people are graduating from university and from high school and from sixth form every year, that they can have meaningful work in their own country and they don't have to migrate to America or to Canada or to the UK. That's when you care about your country. You put things in place. And that's what I was elected to do. If there's some who don't like the fact that I was elected, well, that's too bad. It's called democracy. Go out and work harder and see whether or not you can get elected next time. But that is the nature of what we do, and it seems to me that some people are so personally engaged. Whether they feel they're going to get something from somebody that they currently don't have, whether they vex with somebody or grudge somebody, I really don't know. But where is the personal venom coming from? We're talking about development. We're saying this is a project that can come. These are the pros and cons. Let us discuss the project. Oh, you mislead people and you tell lie and you this and you that and shouting and carrying on like somebody could bang me. Only two people used to bang me, you know, Irvin Brantley and Vicky. Both of them of blessed memory. And I believe all of you out there who fuming and carrying on and foaming at the mouth, you all should know that I'm not afraid of soul. So don't bother call my show. Call some other show. Or go and spend your money and pay for a show. But don't call my show and think that you can bully me. Can't happen. Let's go back to the phones. We have 22 minutes left. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Premier Brantley, I'm back.
Yes, brother.
Me communicate much better than the rest. Listen now.
Yes.
The poultry project.
Yes.
How far you gone with that?
I confess that I have not been there recently, but the last report I got is that the materials and all that had arrived on island, the first batch, the first containers. And I know that the the Canadians who are dealing with the construction, they're on island. I also know, let me say that the excavation and all that was done.
Okay. So here we get back on the project now with that controversy. What the lady let's try to ask is that
How you know what the lady been trying to ask? You and the lady is one person? Huh? I mean, I understand. You tell me what the lady been trying to ask. You and the lady live together?
Listen, Brantley, because me listen to both sides.
Well, I want you to tell me what you want to ask, and tell me what the lady was going to ask, so you can't tell me that.
And the gentleman, okay, what am I trying to put across, right? Because you say, because what you say, you know. So you say that you tell the developers them, go on. So now the developers them come back to you. And well, okay, well, I'm ready to start for whatever the case may be. So them tell how much land, then tell them how much land them get.
But caller, you see, that is what I'm trying to explain. The developers have not come back to us, say they're ready to start anything, you know. The developers have come back to us to make a proposal, setting out the type of project that they would like to do. I don't understand what is so difficult about that for people to appreciate.
Okay.
The developers ain't come and say, listen, I got my architectural plans, and here's this and here's that. We're not at that stage yet. And I'm trying to explain how developments work and how they go, and it just seemed to me that people just, everybody is trying to try to say that they have a gotcha moment, you know.
Okay.
And the worst thing in the world is when people who are not capable are trying to say that they have some gotcha moment. Let's just allow the process to work. I am trying to explain. When you come, for example, you come with a proposal. You say, listen, I want to do a hotel. What kind of hotel? High-end resort. Okay, you want to do 100 homes. By the time you think that might belong to 50, because you don't get the land, you don't get the whatever. But the question is whether or not the country is prepared, the government is prepared to favorably consider a development like this. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, me understand what you're saying.
The details of the development in terms of the design and the architecture and where roads gonna go and where water main is gonna put and where light is gonna put and street light, those are things that will come after.
Yeah.
At this stage, you're merely discussing whether, okay, if somebody come and say they want to put down a factory, right? Is a factory the kind of development that the government would want for Nevis? That is the stage at which we're at. Okay. And I'm trying to explain that to our people so that we have a clear understanding. But there are people out there who have their own agenda, so no clarity. They don't really want clarity, you know. They want to just go off. They just want to go off and continue banging them out. That's all they want.
Me not believe that.
You don't believe that?
No.
No, man, people don't want clarity. You think it's easy, caller. When you don't tell Nevis people that the people going to come to create their own country in Nevis, you tell them that's what the law say. And then it's proven that the land say nothing go so. Them things are not easy, you know. Huh?
Mr. Brantley.
Yes.
Okay.
Go ahead.
You want me ask now.
Yes.
The developers them up to this day, they not come go cancel the citizens as yet.
No.
Right. So what? So this is the point. Is that only you versus the citizens? And the
no. Caller, not come with that. About me versus the citizens. How I can be versus the citizens? I'm a representative of the citizens. I'm the Premier Nevis.
Me no mean verse. Me mean only you. Like you know, I tell the citizens about this development.
Well, as a Premier of the caller, but as a Premier of Nevis, what was the cry? I was actually very sick. I had a bad flu. I didn't even have a voice. But I was listening and watching all the toing and froing. For about 3 weeks, the opposition was on the rampage here in Nevis. And every radio station on Facebook and radio station in St. Kitts saying all manner of things that were not true. When I finally got back on my feet and I had something in front of the cabinet, I went on radio on the 25th of August and made a national address. Because there was so much misinformation out there. And since then, I've been trying my best to explain to people what the law says and what it is that is being proposed. I am not telling people, oh, this is what we are going to do, because the cabinet has not even yet fully considered this matter. No agreement has been arrived at. But I have a duty as the Premier of Nevis to tell the people of Nevis, listen, there's this project that is being offered on the South Coast. The project looks like, based on what they've said, they want to do all these villas and hotels. The project is going to generate significant jobs, revenue for the government, etc. And it is therefore for me now to put the correct information into the public domain so that people are not misled. Because you yourself, and you start to laugh, so you know what I'm talking about, there was a lot of misinformation. You know, when I heard some of them say, the government selling out 6 square miles of Nevis, I call the Minister of Lands right there. I say, where we get that land from? Because me no know we got no land over there. Where that land come from? You heard them because me know your man pay attention to radio. So where you say, wait. So you're saying I should not have corrected those lies that are out there in the public?
If you have to correct.
Okay.
But, right, but you know why I laugh?
Yeah.
Me laugh because again of what you were saying, right? Here, what the people I'm actually telling for the whole night, you know, are you the one that actually have pushed the project? That's what I'm saying, you know.
Caller, I understand what you say the people are saying. I am trying to tell you that it's not that I'm pushing the project, I'm putting the information into the public domain. I am the Premier of Nevis. So what you want me to do? Just stay quiet and say the government don't have nothing to say?
No.
So what is it you want me? It is not pushing, it is giving information. The developers will have to come. I have said we're going to have some town halls and all of that. But in the interim, I cannot allow the people of Nevis to be misled with this pack of foolishness that people keep saying.
So when you look at the town hall, the developers, them with you?
The developers will have to be there. In fact, the developers may have their own town halls. I'm not so sure about the format of it as yet. But the reality is that there have to be conversation with the people of Nevis. But as Premier Nevis, I cannot continue to act as if I am oblivious to what is going on and the efforts to mislead the people of Nevis. I have to correct the record.
Well, if one need for correct, but up to now, maybe you still not, maybe, you know, maybe that Premier Brantley, the people are not listening to you and you're not listening to the people.
Oh, that way you get? Well,
that's what I get. That's how you got the miscommunication.
So let me ask you something.
Go ahead.
You think the people coming to create a private country in Nevis?
Well, if them are come with if them are come with them own custom and them own.
Me ask you all of that. Me ask you a simple question. You think the people coming to Nevis to create their own private country?
Not them own private country, but them own rules.
Every zone have their own rules. Four Seasons got their own rules.
No, but this is different to Four Seasons.
Well, it is different, but what I'm saying is every zone has their own rules.
Yeah, but,
any zone around the world, caller, has their own rules.
Yeah, but Mr. Brantley,
yes.
If the people are coming in, let them come in and abide by the rules of St. Kitts and Nevis, and not to bring them own rules.
But you're not listening to me. You're right. I agree with you. So we'll leave it there because you're not listening to me, although I'm trying to explain to you. You know why? Because you don't make up your mind. And so somebody who don't make up their mind, it don't make no sense what you tell them. I will you and I will agree to leave it there because it don't make no sense. Because I am trying to explain to you that every zone in the world has its own rules. That's the reason why it's a special zone. If it had the same rules like the rest of the country, then what would be special about it? But as I said, you don't want to hear that, so let's leave it there. We're going to take some more calls. Thank you very much.
No problem.
All right, my brother.
Good.
We have about 12 minutes left and we're taking your calls. 869-469-1616 and 1700. Let's go back to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Yes, good night, Mr. Brantley.
Yes, good night.
Yeah, Honorable Brantley, good night.
Yes, good evening.
You don't tell them what you say. You don't say what you had to say, no? A grudge, then grudge. Okay. The scripture lesson is taken from Psalm 27. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? When the wicked, even mine enemies and my foes, come upon me to eat up my flesh, they stumbled and fell. Though an host should encamp against me, my heart shall not fear. Though war should rise against me, in this will I be confident. One thing have I desired of the Lord, that will I seek after, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord in all the days of my life, to behold the beauty of the Lord and to inquire in his temple. Here ended the reading of the scripture. Good show.
Thank you very much
I
for that
enjoy it
scripture.
very much. I'll send you a message.
Okay, well, I will look for that message. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, then you take care.
All
God
right.
bless, eh?
Okay, thank you so
All
much.
right, bye.
We have 10 minutes left and we're taking your calls. Somebody just sent me a message all the way from the US. You know what they said? NRP was trying hard to bring what they said was the biggest oil storage facility in Nevis. That was the plan that they had. And I think they wanted to put it right on the same south coast of Nevis. How were they going to do it? Wouldn't they require land? The largest oil facility to pollute the environment and to basically kill off over there. Right? That is what their plan was for that area. When we got into government, we found not even one scrap of information about that proposed oil facility. But people don't forget that these were the kinds of harebrained schemes that they had. So, there is a developer now and a development now. Let us evaluate that and just stop with all the roar and the hysteria. It really doesn't become us. Let's go back to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark. We've lost that caller, let's try somebody else. Caller, good evening, you're on the mark.
Good evening.
Good
I
evening.
am surprised that you keep asking the question that you don't know where all the venom is coming from. It's simple. All the lies that they have told, the truth, have been exposed to the vex. That's all.
But what they tell the lies from the beginning?
Well, you see, because they thought that nobody would have come out and exposed them. And again, as you said, you were not available at the time because you were on sick leave. So now you come out now and, start to expose them. And apart from you coming out and expose them, people would have gone and read for themselves and get the truth.
And I think when people read and for themselves, because, the caller just called and say, basically, as he proved, he now listened to me, right? So when people read for themselves and they get an understanding for themselves, they really realize how diabolically devilish some of the things that were being said were.
But obviously, you know what happened? Many years ago, they tried the 80 acres, remember, and they feel like it worked. But trust me, this money ain't going to work.
Well, caller, thank you for that. And that 80 acres is a good reminder because it's the same playbook, It's the same playbook. They attacked the Honorable Malcolm Gishard of blessed memory and his family. Tried to destroy the man and his family. And I remember going up by MEMS and seeing one of them who was very vocal on the radio about 80 acres. And I remember to this day. And I said to him, what you are going to do now about that 80 acres that you all win the election? And he said, that don't do it work. That don't do it work. That was his response to me. And I never forgot that exchange because I said the levels they went to destroy Gish. Listen, Gish was the kind of person who I don't know if anybody could be vexed with him. I said that honestly. I don't know if anybody could have that venom against Gish because Gish was the most affable and lovable person you could find. Man, even if he do you something, once he come and say, man, no, you tell you that, you start to laugh. Right? And that campaign against Malcolm Gishard where they tried to destroy the man and his family, all in an effort to get into office with a lie. Me not got a problem if what you're saying is true, you know. Because those of us who put ourselves in politics must expect that our actions are going to be scrutinized. But with a lie. And when I talk to this scoundrel up by Melms, and he gonna got the heart to tell me, that don't do it work. That don't do it work. No regard for Gish, no regard for Malcolm, no regard for Malcolm's family. The man had a wife, he had children. No regard for them. And I recall coming on this very radio station at the height of that campaign and saying this thing was not true. But by then, the lie had taken hold and people were convinced of it. That is NRP. But they're not going to succeed with that with me. I have an English tongue in my head, and I hear recently they're saying me talk too much. Every radio station I go in and, oh, they don't want to hear nothing from me. Well, you're going to hear from me, you know why? I am the Premier of Nevis. I'm the spokesman in chief for the people of Nevis. And I'm not shy, because when you're telling the truth and you have the facts, you don't need to be shy. And whether it's on this radio program, on the platform, in the parliament, in the rum shop, wherever I am, I'm going to stand my ground and I'm going to speak the truth to the people of Nevis. Some of you don't want to hear the truth. You prefer to believe the lie. Some of you are angry. I don't know who you're angry with. Maybe you're angry with yourself because you're unhappy with something about yourself. I don't know. But all I'm trying to tell you is this. Nevis needs development. And we, the people of Nevis who are here, cannot do it on our own. Just how the big money came in to build Four Seasons, and to build Paradise Beach, and to build Mount Nevis, and to build Nisbet Plantation, and other developments of Palm Gardens of Jessops. So too, we need partnerships and investment. You know, I read something here about the city of Manhattan in the great United States of America. And the question was, how was Manhattan built? And they say it was the Dutch West India Company and then some English companies and capital from Europe that initially built Manhattan. And I thought to myself, that's interesting. Because you have some here in Nevis seem to be saying to Nevisians that foreign investment and foreign capital, we don't want it. We should shun it. We and us alone here can develop the island. Well, perhaps that is true. But at what pace and in what time? Because this is now September. By June next year, I have another batch of young people coming out of school. And every June, that's the case. They are looking to me for leadership. What should I do? Watch them in the eye and tell them, see if you could get on a boat and smuggle your way into the United States? Like how we see from some other countries these poor migrants are doing? Is that what some want to see for Nevis? And people are getting enraged with me as the Premier. Me not sell no land, you know. But them vex with me. And you know the irony? They're supporting somebody who sell land. I ain't sell none. They vex with me. And getting enraged, and that's why I say it seems to me that there's something else afoot. It can't be people so upset and so angry over an issue of private people doing their private business. I spoke to a friend of mine, he said he got some land and he not selling his land. I said, boy, that's your right. Well, you know, nobody could vex with you. And you don't need to be vexed with nobody. If you got a car and a man come to you and tell you want to buy your car, it's your right to say yeah or nay. So where's all the emotion and venom coming from? A proposal has come for a significant investment. The people of Nevis are either going to say yea or nay. Why is everybody, it seems, not everybody, but the the vocal few, why are they so angry? What are they angry about? And who are they angry with? I just can't understand it, ladies and gentlemen. And that's why, in my soliloquy, I say, we could do better, let's do better. The band struck up. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank all of those who call. I want to say that we will continue to have a discussion. And once people understand the rules, we will engage. Let's be respectful to each other. Let's not try to bully each other, because big people can't bully. You can't shout and carry on like a child. Let us understand that we operate at a particular level. And I always tell people that this show is not kindergarten. It's not Sunday school. It is a serious show in the sense that it seeks to appeal to people at a particular level. And if you don't feel that you're up to that level, that's okay. But maybe calling into the show and carrying on is not the best representation of yourself. As the music strikes up, let me just remind the general public that on the 15th of the month, we have Last Lap 2.0 at the Cultural Village, where we're going to have several big bands from Nevis and St. Kitts, several DJs, and of course our vendors. So we're asking everybody to come out. The cost is absolutely free. And then at the VOJ in Playfield on Tuesday the 16th, the Concerned Citizens Movement, that great party, is having a fun day, family, for the whole family at VOJ. Come on out, I'll be on the grill. Come and taste my hand. Lots to eat and drink, and we have a lot of old-time games. Lime and spoon, tug of war, and of course dominoes, cards, and the works. Just come and have some fun. Come and mingle. And again, that event is free. Vendors are welcome, so please come on out and mix and mingle. We are all Nevisions. We are all one people. Let us show love to each other, and let us stop with all this venom and vitriol and nastiness towards each other. It is not necessary, and the only thing it does is it makes you sick. That's our show. Good night. God bless you.
The views and opinions expressed on the preceding program were solely those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Nevis Broadcasting Company Limited